So good morning, students. Continuing with the previous lecture, today we are going to start with the types of economies. Okay, every economy has a particular kind of economic system. So what are those economic system, or what are the different types of economies that we will discuss today? There could be a centrally planned economy. An economy could be a market economy. It could be a mixed economy. So first of all, centrally planned economy. Centrally planned economy is that economy where there is a centrally planned authority, right? There is one authority who takes all the economic decisions. Economic decisions like what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce, right? All the economic decisions are taken by this centrally planned authority. So all these decisions are taken keeping in mind the social welfare, right? With the objective of maximizing the welfare of the society, these economic decisions are taken. So in other words, we can say while taking the decision or while allocating the resources, uh, like land is to be how much of the land is to be allocated towards agricultural, towards industries, towards shopping malls, towards residential complexes. While taking this decision, what is kept in mind? Social welfare. So this type of economy where market forces do not operate, private ownership is not there, means of production are owned by the government, economic decisions are taken by the government. So that type of economy is known as centrally planned economy. So in this economy, as I have already told you, that focus is on maximization of social welfare. सेकेंड इज बेटे मार्केट इकोनॉमी, इसको हम फ्री इकोनॉमी भी कह देते हैं. मार्केट इकोनॉमी वो इकोनॉमी है वेयर ऑल द इकोनॉमिक डिसीजंस आर अंडरटेकन बाय द मार्केट फोर्सेस. Decisions like what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. All these economic decisions are undertaken by the market forces. Okay, no government interference is there. Market forces lead us to the answer of resource allocation. So land, in this case, if we have to allocate land, land will be allocated towards that particular use where producers feel their profits can be maximized. जिस product की demand ज़्यादा है उसकी तरफ ही resource allocation होगी. ठीक है. So while taking economic decisions, maximization of profit, that is the objective kept in mind, maximization of profit. ठीक है. So here there is only private ownership. ठीक है. Government interference in economic decisions is not there. So free economy भी इसको कह देते हैं. Third is a mixed economy. Mixed economy, as it is clear, is a mixture of both, blend of fusion of centrally planned economy and market economy, right? Here both the sectors, private as well as public sector, coexist. So certain important segments which we feel are necessary for protection or for maximizing welfare of the society, they are kept with the government, and their economic decisions are undertaken by the government, whereas other sectors, they are left with the private sector, and they operate as per the free play of market forces. So these are the three types of economic system. So next topic is central problems of the economy. But every economy faces certain problems. So central problems of the economy are those problems around which all other problems, unemployment, poverty, inflation, all the problems center around these problems. So basically, these problems relate to the allocation of resources. So the three problems regarding or related to the allocation of resources are what and how much to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. But because this is revision going on, ठीक है, तो मैं थोड़ा सा फास्ट कराऊंगी so that I am able to cover all your syllabus. So first economic problem, what and how much to produce. But as all of us know, with limited resources we cannot produce all the commodities. A choice has to be made. Okay, what to produce, what not to produce. If we increase the production of one commodity, we have to decrease the production of another commodity. Why? Because the resources are limited. So choice has to be made. Choice has to be made between necessities, comforts, and luxuries. How much of necessary goods we should produce, how much resources we should allocate towards the production of comforts, and how much resources we should allocate towards the production of luxuries. Similarly, choice has to be made between consumer goods and capital goods. Okay, you know the distinction between consumer and capital good. Consumer goods which directly satisfy the wants of the consumer, capital goods which are used by the producers for further production. So again, a choice has to be made between wartime goods and peacetime goods. Okay, so this problem, what and how much to produce, how we can, take this decision, while taking this decision, we have to, keep in mind that the aggregate utility has to be maximized. जो aggregate utility है वो maximize होनी चाहिए. इस तरह से इन decision को लेना है. Second problem is how to produce. Now, how to produce problem is basically related with the choice of technique of production. So basically, there are two techniques of production: labor intensive and capital intensive technique of production. Labor intensive technique of production is that technique of production where more of labor, less of capital is used per unit of output. And in contrast to that, capital intensive technique of production is that technique of production where more of capital, that is machinery, and less of labor is used for producing goods, right? Now, both the techniques have their own merits and demerits. Labor intensive technique, it helps generate employment opportunities, but here the cost of production is quite high. Whereas capital intensive technique, it leads to more production, better quality goods, but it does not generate employment. So keeping in mind, the state of economy, the resources available with the economy, we have to make a choice. For example, for a labor surplus economy like India, we can make use of labor intensive technique. Okay. So how to make this choice? We have to choose that technique of production which gives us maximum production with minimum resources. That is the optimum utilization of resources. Third central problem of the economy is for whom to produce. But basically this problem relates to the distribution of income. And this problem has basically two aspects. One is personal distribution and another is functional distribution. Functional distribution. So personal distribution is the study of inequalities present in the distribution of income. Basically, it is the study of distribution of income among individuals and households. ठीक है, इंडिविजुअल्स और हाउसहोल्ड्स में इनकम किस तरह से डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड है. जो बेटे प्रोडक्शन होती है, इट टेक्स द फॉर्म ऑफ इनकम. प्रोडक्शन लीड्स टू जनरेशन ऑफ इनकम. ठीक है, सो वो इनकम जो है किस तरह से डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड है. अगर हम उसका पर्सनल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन एस्पेक्ट देखते हैं तो वी स्टडी द डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ इनकम अमंग इंडिविजुअल्स एंड हाउसहोल्ड्स. ठीक है, तो दिस बेसिकली रिलेट्स टू द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ inequality present in the distribution of income, because यहाँ पे हम देखते हैं कितने लोगों के पास ज्यादा इनकम गई, कितनों के पास कम गई, यानी कितना गैप है रिच और पुअर के बीच में, यानी inequalities exist कर रही हैं या नहीं. Then another aspect is functional distribution, because the production is the result of 4 factors of production: land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. All these factors, when they contribute towards the production, when they give their services, obviously they ask for reward. We have to give them factor payments. So how much is to be given to them? How much is to be distributed to the landlord in the form of rent? How much to the labor in the form of wages? How much is to be, given to the capitalist in the form of interest? And how much profit is to be given to the entrepreneur? So it's not कि 100 crore की output produce हुई है तो सबको equally divide कर देंगे. That is the question, how it is to be distributed, how the total production or the income generated as a result of production is to be distributed among 4 factors of production. So the answer is that we have to distribute according to the marginal productivity of factors. जो factor of production जितना contribute कर रहा है towards production, उसमें इतना distribute कर दीजिए, ठीक है? So these are the central problems of the economy. So because this time we do not have the concept of production possibility curve in our syllabus, so we come to the end of this chapter. So now we are going to start with the revision of the chapter theory of demand. So first of all, you should know about the concept of demand. In ordinary language, we can say demand refers to want, desire, right, wish for a commodity. But in economics, demand has a wider connotation. Demand refers to, that desire of the commodity which has the capacity, willingness, ability to be fulfilled. So demand comprises of 3 main elements: desire for a commodity, ability to buy a commodity, and willingness to spend the means, use the resources. So these 3 components together make up a demand, and demand always exists at a particular price and at a particular point of time. So if any person, there are, let's say 3 persons, A, B, and C. All of them desire to have a car which is worth 10 lakh rupees. And A has 10 lakh rupees to buy the car. B also has 10 lakh rupees to buy a car. But C does not have 10 lakh rupees. So C's desire to have a commodity cannot be converted into demand because he does not have the ability to buy a car or to fulfill his desire. Okay? So desire alone does not comprise of demand. Whereas A and B both have the desire as well as ability to buy the car. Now A is also willing to spend this 10 lakh rupees to buy a car. But B, even though he is having 10 lakh rupees, he also wishes to have a car, desire bhi hai, ability bhi hai, but he does not, want to part with 10 lakh rupees. You can say he is a miser person, कंजूस है, या उसकी बेटी की शादी आने वाली है, उसको लगता है कि मैंने यहाँ पे पैसे खर्च दिए तो वहाँ पे मेरे को कम ना हो जाए. So due to any reason, he is not willing to spend 10 lakh rupees on the car. So which again means his desire cannot be converted into demand. ठीक है, बट ए के पास डिजायर भी है कार को लेने की, 10 लाख रुपीस वो स्पेंड करने के लिए है भी है, उसके पास एबिलिटी भी है और वो विलिंग भी है 10 लाख रुपए कार के ऊपर खर्चने को. ठीक है, सो दिस डिजायर, effective desire or the desire which has the ability and willingness to be fulfilled can be converted into demand. ठीक है, so next concept है बेटे, there are two concepts, quantity demanded and demand. Now generally students interchangeably make use of these two concepts, but there is a difference. डिमांड बेसिकली, डिमांड को हम ऐसे भी डिफाइन करते हैं, डिमांड रेफर्स टू क्वांटिटीज ऑफ ए कमोडिटी विच द कंज्यूमर इज एबल एंड विलिंग टू बाय एट वेरियस प्राइसेस. मैंने यही बताया ना, डिजायर के लिए 3 कंपोनेंट्स हैं. एक डिजायर, डिमांड के लिए 3 कंपोनेंट्स होने जरूरी है. एक कमोडिटी के लिए डिजायर होनी चाहिए, मीन्स होने चाहिए, मीन्स को स्पेंड करने की विलिंगनेस होनी चाहिए, और वो एक पर्टिकुलर प्राइस पे और एक पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पर होती है. सो हाउ कैन वी डिफाइन डिमांड? डिमांड रेफर्स टू वेरियस क्वांटिटीज ऑफ ए कमोडिटी which the consumers are willing and able to buy at various prices. So demand can be represented in the form of demand schedule. So किसी भी एक पर्टिकुलर कमोडिटी की हम बात कर लेते हैं, लेट्स से कमोडिटी X, these are the various prices, this is the quantities which the consumer is able and willing to buy at various prices. Say at 1 rupee he is willing to buy 10 units at 28642. What does this schedule show? It shows various quantities of a commodity which the consumer is able and willing to buy at various prices. तो इसको हम डिमांड कह देते हैं. This demand schedule is demand. Demand is basically represented by demand schedule. ठीक है, so अगर मैं आपसे ये पूछूं कि how much units you are willing to buy if the price of the commodity is ₹3, your answer will be 6 units. This is बेटे quantity demanded. ठीक है, वेरियस प्राइसेस पे डिमांड देखते हैं, उसको डिमांड कहते हैं. एक पर्टिकुलर प्राइस पे, एक स्पेसिफिक प्राइस पे एक कितनी स्पेसिफिक क्वांटिटी एक कंज्यूमर लेने को तैयार है, उसको क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड कहते हैं. So we can say quantity demanded refers to a particular quantity of a commodity which the consumer is able and willing to buy at a particular price at a particular point of time. ठीक है, so ऐसे कह सकते हैं ये पूरा एक शेड्यूल है. शेड्यूल में से एक स्पेसिफिक क्वांटिटी एक पर्टिकुलर प्राइस पे देखनी है, इसको कहते हैं क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट कंसेप्ट इज बेटे डिमांड शेड्यूल. डिमांड शेड्यूल रेफर्स टू अ टेबल which shows the relationship between price and quantity demanded. In other words, it tells us various quantities which the consumer is able and willing to buy at various prices. Demand schedule is of 2 types: individual demand schedule, market demand schedule. Individual demand schedule shows the quantities demanded by an individual at various prices. Quantities of a commodity demanded by an individual at various prices. ठीक है, whereas market demand schedule, let us say there are 2 consumers in the market. ठीक है, consumer A, consumer B. So this is quantity demanded of A, this is quantity demanded of B. ठीक है, so their total quantity, because there are only 2 consumers in the market A and B, इन दोनों की डिमांड का सम टोटल ले लो, वो क्या हो गई market demand. ठीक है? So market demand, this is market demand schedule. It shows various quantities demanded by all the consumers in the market at various prices. Clear? Now, this tabular representation is referred to as demand schedule. If we represent it with the help of a graph, okay, diagram. So the diagrammatic or graphical representation of demand schedule is known as demand curve. Because we are representing the schedule with the help of curve, it would be explaining or it would be telling us the same thing as that of demand schedule. Okay? So we can say demand curve is the diagrammatic representation of demand schedule. Okay? And demand curve shows various quantities demanded by individual at various prices. Just like demand schedule, demand curve is also of two types: individual demand curve and market demand curve. So whenever we draw demand curve, we take quantity demanded on x-axis and price on y-axis. So आप स्केल इधर 1 2 3 4 5 का स्केल ले लीजिए, इधर 10 8 4 6 2 का स्केल ले लीजिए, पॉइंट्स लगा लेंगे जब, तो उन पॉइंट्स को ज्वाइन करके बेटे आपके पास एक कर्व आएगा जो कि डाउनवर्ड स्लोपिंग होगा. ठीक है? सो आई एम नॉट राइटिंग डाउन द स्केल हेयर बिकॉज दिस इज रिवीजन गोइंग ऑन. हम आगे भी 2-4 बार इसकी रिवीजन कर चुके हैं. सो ऑल ऑफ यू नो कि जब नेगेटिव रिलेशन होता है दो वेरिएबल्स के बीच में तो कर्व डाउनवर्ड स्लोपिंग ही होता है. सो इट्स क्लियर, प्राइस राइजेस, डिमांड फॉल्स, so demand curve slopes downwards. This is individual demand curve. So if we want to draw market demand curve, again it is a lateral summation of individual demand curves. So bete this is demand curve of individual A. On the same lines we can draw demand curve, इसको हम D1 नाम दे देते हैं. This is D2. This is demand curve of individual B. और इन दोनों का सम टोटल जब हम ले लेंगे हमारे पास आ जाएगा मार्केट डिमांड कर्व. ठीक है? मार्केट डिमांड कर्व DD. Because it is lateral summation of both of these two demand curves, it will again be a negatively sloped curve. Clear? So this is market demand curve. Right? Any child having any doubt? Demand. Right?